Chapter 48. Clooney the Scourge anxiously awaited the arrival of darkness. One of his three plans had reached fruition a lot earlier than he had expected. Kilkenny had provided an invaluable help. He had been across the woods to satisfy his curiosity about what the rats were doing. It came to no surprise that the fair to see a large siege tower under construction. However, there was a problem. The cart still lay upturned in the ditch. Try as they would, the rats had not been able to remove a set of wheels and axles from it. Kilkenny had a word with Clooney and was immediately set down to supervise the operation. The hilarious ferret showed the rats that he possessed a sound knowledge of the principles of fulcrum and leverage. He rigged a block and tackle to supplement a dead tree limb that they had been using as a lever. Ignoring wheels and axle, he roped the cart to lift the hay cart until it was halfway out of the ditch. Further pressure as the lever sent the hay cart past its own point of balance. The block and tackle parted under the strain, sending the ferrets and rats on the level scooting down into the ditch. By a mistake, it did the trick. With a crash, the cart landed upright on the road. They pushed it into the woods. Kilkenny oversaw the lifting of the tower onto the bed of the cart. Delighted by his own ingenuity, he added the final touches. In a short time, the siege tower, its wheels muffled with slacking, stood completed, ready for use. Clooney gathered his captains about him and outlined his strategy. Tonight, when it was dark, Fangburn would step up the attack on the gatehouse as diversionary measure. Clooney would command a packed band of best fighters. They would bring the siege tower up from the cover of mossflower wood and wheel it to the part of the wall where the defense appeared weakest. Under cover of darkness, they would filter to the top of the tower on the ramparts. A quick slaughter of the defenders would leave Redwall wide open to them. Clooney watched the evening sky anxiously. It would not be long now. He signaled Fangburn to begin the diversionary assault. Yelling and shouting fearsome war cries, the attackers leapt from the ditch, peppering the ramparts with hails of arrows, spears, and stones. "Redwall to me! Come on, mice!" cried Constance. "Let's give better than we get. Redwall to me!" Basilstag had formed three lines of bow mice on the top of the wall. They worked in quick military efficiency as the hare rapped out orders. First rank, fire. Drop back. Kneel and reload. Second rank, fire. Drop back. Kneel. Reload. Third rank, fire. Drop back. Kneel. Reload. First rank, forward again. Fire. The commands continued unabated. Enemy soldiers fell stricken on the road. Darkclaw rushed up about bringing up reinforcements. "Keep those things throwing. Bring extra spears. Close up that line. Don't fire until you see them stand." John Churchmouse, Mr. Vole, and Friar Hugo ran about, bending low. They collected up all the arrows, spears, and stones hurled by the horde, issuing them to the defenders. "Come on, otters, give them back a taste of their own medicine." Winifred urged her slingers on while directing fresh archers into the ranks of the bow mice. Constance and the beaver shared a stack of enemy spears. They returned them with frightening power and devastating aim. Ferrets, archers at the edge of the meadows found the range of Basil's bow mice. Several were felled before Jess Squirrel and Murphy, along with some other crack otter slingers, set down a barrage so swift and accurate that it had been decimated the ferrets within minutes. While the battle went on ahead, raging from the heights of the parapet to the depths of the ditch, the Joseph bell rang out over the carnage. Clooney snapped the battle visor down on his war helmet. He rapped Kilkenny on the shoulder. "Good. Now it's time. Come on, ferret." Together they slunk off down the ditch, running crouchingly over to the southeast corner of the wall, where it was relatively quiet. Keeping noise down to a minimum, Clooney ordered his troops to bring forward the siege tower. Straining and pushing, the rat soldiers trundled the tall contraption from its woodland hiding place. The going was even harder across the short space of the soft meadow ground. Clooney himself lent a claw, pulling at one of the lead ropes. He tugged mightily, causing the cumbersome tower to sway dangerously as it bumped over the grassy hillocks. "Bring it up close to the wall," he whispered urgently. "Now that's it. Make sure it's on an even keel. I don't want the top wobbling all over the place." Stones and soil were tampered around the wheels, wedging them still. The great tower stood ready for use. While Friar Hugo hurried off to join the defenders, he left Cornflower in charge of the kitchens. She had busied herself with setting pans of oatmeal and over bread ready for the next morning's breakfast. Cornflower then thought of those sentries on the wall. She set about making a large pan of vegetable soup. It was a great favorite when the defenders at nighttime, especially when she made it with her own recipe. Helped by Mrs. Vole and Mr. Squirrel, she ladled it into 3 big earthenware jars, taking up a jug each with a small basket of fresh loaves and some goat cheese. They set off, with Cornflower in the lead carrying a lantern. Their first stop was the southeast corner, where Formal and his crew had a monotonous task. Night and day they monitored the grounds for sounds of tunneling. They were glad for a short respite and some hot food, while they chattered to the caterers in a gruff, polite tones. Cornflower had never been quite sure of what Formal was saying, but she loved listening to his funny, cornified mole dialect. "Yer, missy, they rat environments be a-comin' up 2 days. Oil reckon, gur. We'll give 'em out Ari if they shows their heads." Cornflower was only picking up one in 3 words, but the fierce scowl of Formal's face, she was certain that the rats would not find it pleasant experience by giving "Aud Airy." Formal tugged his nose graciously at her. "Thank ye kindly. Not like vegetable soup to keep life in us moles." Mr. Squirrel chuckled to Cornflower and Mrs. Vole. "Well, I take it the moles are quite fond of the homemade vegetable soup. I know my Jess will be ready for some." "Yes, and so would Sam if he weren't fast asleep in bed," Cornflower replied. "Look, you and Mr. Vole start serving along by the gatehouse. Keep your heads low and be careful. I'll start up here at the corner to see you back to the kitchen later." With a lantern and basket in one paw and a jug in the other, Cornflower ascended the steps of the southeast corner of the wall. Brother Rufus assisted her upon the ramparts. The young field mouse with magic soup. "Nice to see you, Cornflower. It gets lonely up here where there's no action." Brother Rufus held out his mug. He watched gratefully through the cloud of steam that rose from the jug. That smells good. Vegetable soup. My favorite." Cornflower was not listening. She was staring open-mouthed across Brother Rufus's shoulder. The soup was overflowing from the mug and spattered out on the stone as she continued to pour. Across the top of the pit was a ramshackle wooden platform that appeared as if out of nowhere. Perching on the top of it, ready to spring, was a villainous-looking rat with a cutlass clenched between his teeth. Cornflower shrieked aloud. More by accident than design, Brother Rufus sprang around and sent the scalding contents of his mug splashing fully into the rat's eyes. With a piercing wail of agony, the rat fell from the top of the platform. Scarcely aware of what she was doing, Cornflower threw the lantern. It shattered on the top of the siege tower, drenching the dead wood in lamp oil. Instantly, the flames licked hungrily over the platform, turning it into an inferno. Attracted by the flaring blaze in the night, defenders rushed over from all quarters to see what was happening. Over 30 rats were in the high reaches of the burning tower. Many more were in the middle, and still more on the lower flames. Rats were kicking and fighting each other to get down from the blazing tower. They bit and trampled and slashed, some jumping while others were pushed, screaming as they fell far to the field below. Clooney ran through the berserk rage, temporarily bereft for his senses. He seized hold of the smoldering, injured rats, some with their fur light. "Get back up there, you cowards! Jump onto the wall!" he screamed in his madness. The rats who had been attacked at the gatehouse left off fighting and ran down the road to the fiery holocaust. Sparks crackled and shot off into the night sky. Clooney lashed out at all sundry with his tail, foaming at the mouth and cursing wildly. His face was a terrifying mask of insanity in the glare from the tower. "It's only a bit of fire. Get back up there, you blundering fools! Kill the mice!" Dark Claw and Fangburn grabbed hold of Clooney's smoldering cloak. They dragged him backwards. "Get out of the way, Chief! It's starting to fall!" With a roaring crackle and a snap of blazing timber, the siege tower leaned crazily to one side. It tottered and collapsed in a flaring sheet of flames and sparks. The hay wagon listed drunkenly and was pulled off onto its side, where it lay burning furiously. The incident was put an end to the night's fighting. On the top of the wall, cheering broke out. Cornflower was the heroine of the hour. She blushed as Formal nodded admiringly. You look more handsome in this light, missy. You got on the vegetable suit left? Don't give it all to those vermins, did he? Below the wall was a scent of mass carnage. The ground was littered with bodies of attackers who had fallen prey to the flames in the ill-starred venture of the siege tower. Surrounded by his captains, Clooney led down the safety of the ditch. Apparently unaware of anything about him, he muttered dark words to himself, strange things that others could not comprehend. Behind the warlord's back, the captains looked at each other in a puzzled fashion. Had the mind of Clooney's scourge finally snapped? The fire dwindled to smoldering embers next morning. Constance and the abbot looked at the results from the ramparts. A wide area of meadowland was burned black and scorched flat. Even now, parts of it sizzled in the morning dew. Thank goodness it did not spread to the woods, said the abbot, otherwise all of Mossflower might have gone up in flames. The badger stared sadly at the scorched earth. True, no side used fire as weapons, not even Clooney. It is one thing that spells certain death to creatures on both sides. We must look on it as an accident, Father Abbot. Accident or not, we owe Cornflower a debt and gratitude, replied the abbot. She is a very brave young field mouse, but for her swift action we might not have been under the heel of a tyrant today. In the abbey kitchens, Cornflower stirred the oatmeal and checked it on the bread baking in the oven. She smiled to herself. What would Matthias think of all of it? Last night heroine, this morning cook.